I should probably do that. Because I'm not sure what mine is going at. See, is it too low?
Welcome to the Zoom Test Kitchen where the magic happens live. Every Friday we're on air, testing tech to thrive. From screen share to breakout rooms, we push Zoom to its max. So sit back, relax, and let's see what's in our tech hacks. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. We'll dive into the settings, explore every single tab. Make sure your mic is clear, your camera not a drab. We'll show you how to host like a pro, manage like a king. With Zoom Test Kitchen, you'll be zooming with a zing. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. Whether you're new to Zoom or an expert in disguise, we've got tips and tricks, we'll open up your eyes. From polls to quizzes, we test functionalities. Join us live, see what Zoom does with ease. So if your meetings lag, or you can't share your screen, or if your audio echoes like you're stuck in between, we've got solutions, we'll show you how it's done. Zoom Test Kitchen, where Zoom fun has begun. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. So tune in, don't miss out on this tech fest we lead. Every Friday, Zoom Test Kitchen, where you'll succeed. We'll make your Zoom meeting smooth, keep the tech in check. In the Zoom Test Kitchen, we've got your back, no wreck. So tune in, don't miss out on this tech fest we lead. Every Friday, Zoom Test Kitchen, where you'll succeed. We'll make your Zoom meeting smooth, keep the tech in check. In the Zoom Test Kitchen, we've got your back, no wreck. These lyrics capture the essence of what the Zoom Test Kitchen does, focusing on testing and teaching about Zoom functionalities in a fun, engaging way. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. We've got your back, no wreck. We've got your back, no wreck. These lyrics capture the essence of what the Zoom Test Kitchen does, focusing on testing and teaching about Zoom functionalities in a fun, engaging way.
There's just nothing better than listening to our theme song. Nothing.
So cool.
Nothing in the whole world. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the kitchen, the Zoom Test Kitchen, where we're going to chat. We're going to talk chat. We're going to try and figure out chat and how we want to use Zoom chat, which, by the way, we as a team don't. We probably should. We should probably. Someone muted. Was that Ray? Ray muted me. We should probably use Zoom chat instead of Discord. But we're going to get into that today. We're going to learn all about Zoom chat. Speaking of people who want to mute me, hi, Ray.
Hi, David. As the gatekeeper, I was trying to let John Drinkwater in, and instead I muted you, and I apologize.
That's perfectly okay.
It's so close together, and it's so far away.
You know what's funny? So is this on a Stream Deck?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's funny because when I'm building my Stream Deck set, I think about, okay, I know I'm going to screw this up with my big fat fingers. So let's, I keep certain, like the end meeting button has its own page. Like it's nowhere near anything else.
It has its own, people don't know, it probably also has its own Stream Deck.
Right. Just a Stream Deck with a big end meeting button. Yeah, John says a Stream Deck with bigger buttons. The Stream Deck Plus, actually, the 8 buttons on that are larger than on the regular one. But yeah. And Mike, how are you, sir?
Doing good, David. I actually had a newer one that I've been playing with that I might debut later that actually made sure that we have David Paskin as a lyric in the
Oh God, no.
song.
That's not
Oh
gonna
God,
happen.
yes.
Oh God. Oh God, no. Unless we're singing about Tony Mobley, I don't want to hear it.
Hello.
How you
Long
doing?
time no see.
Long time. God, it's been 3 days in a row, Tony. Love it.
Yes, it has.
This is a new record for us. I love it so
I
much.
think it is.
It's so good to
I
see.
think it is. Good to see you as well.
Tamara, how you
And
doing?
everybody else.
Yeah.
That is the first time I've heard the theme song, and I love it so much.
No, I do. The best part of the whole theme song is that we forgot to trim off the notes from ChatGPT at the end. And so it sings all the, I just did the song for you. And it was,
It's so good.
yeah. Live on YouTube each week.
Live on YouTube instead of live. I love it.
Right. Hi,
It's
Frank.
so good.
How you doing, sir?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Thank God. Doing well. And Mr. Drinkwater, how are you? Lord Zoom.
Well, I've got this.
Oh, now you're just showing off.
But what's really cool about it is it has a little thing at the top, so you can MagSafe your phone
Oh, you're
onto your water bottle.
that. Wait. Show the flip it so we can see what's on top. Is there? Oh, you unscrew the top. Oh my gosh.
What a great merch idea for Zoom.
What do you say?
What a like perfect merch for Zoom developers. Like it's so well thought out. Good job.
What I would
They're the people that make it.
Ringo, what I'd love
Um,
is if in the bottom of it there was a USB-C plug so you could plug it in and it could charge your phone while that would be very cool. Wait, what's the name? Ringo?
Ringo is the name of the company, yeah.
Ringo Star. No, that's not it. Ringo stuff. The MagSafe water bottle. There it is. The MagSafe water bottle. Wow, that's very cool, actually. Pre-ordered. Oh, they're not even out yet, but you can create your own. Very nice. Who did I forget? Did I forget anyone? No, that's everyone so far. Tony's here. I'm in here a whole bunch. All right, cool. So, do any of you use Zoom chat? You do. Frank, you use it regularly. Ray, you use it regularly. Mike, you use it. Okay. Oh God. John, are you okay? You just had a whole bunch of fireworks in your room.
That's the beauty of Mac.
Was that Zoom or was that Mac? That's funny.
No, that's Mac.
That's Mac. So let me just to bring people up to speed. If you aren't up to speed, here we go. Oh, I don't know why it's so noisy out there. Sorry about that. All right. So here is here's the Zoom client, or sorry, the Zoom app. They don't call it a client. Here's the Zoom app. And for those of you who don't know, there is a chat feature. And I actually went in here before we came on and I tweaked just a couple of things. There's a setting that I didn't know about. In fact, let me bring those settings up so we can look at them. Zoom.us. Okay. These are not the settings for that account, but that's okay. If we look at chat, not chast, chat. Here we go. Oh, this is not where I thought. This is not where I saw the settings. This is not what I thought I was. Hold on a second. Because it wasn't in meeting chat. It was here. How did I get to the settings here? I'm totally flummoxed on what's going on here. More. Oh well.
Hey, David, are you trying to add somebody or?
No. Sorry. Before I oh, it was just here. Here it is. I'm sorry. Boy, that's not easily findable. Your settings are in here. Sorry, I wasn't sure what I was looking for. So a couple of things that I changed just before we came on: separate DMs and channels. So before you just have chats and channels. I didn't even realize that because I never use it, but I think for me, at least separating would be smart. Open only one section at a time. So if I've got channels open and then I go to open direct messages, it'll close channels. I can change that so that I can now have multiple things open at the same time. I'm a neat freak, so I think I'll keep that on. Customize the look of my sidebar. This is poor UI here. This is the dark, but you can't even see it because I'm in dark mode. You should have something there. Sort by unread first, move messages with new replies to the bottom of the chat. Start at first unread, yada, yada, yada. And then we got notifications and some link previews and things like that. So I'm going to not change my status. And okay. So those are the settings that we have. So you've got starred, direct messages, channels, meeting chats, and apps. I have no idea what apps are. So let's start with, well, direct messages are obvious. That's when someone DMs you. Channels, someone's gonna have to jump in here because I'm really don't. But this is like in Slack. You can just create different channels. Is that either with, and you can add different people to them, and they can This is how you organize your chats. Is that the case?
Yep, that's the way to it.
All right. So I've got David's fun team, which some of us are on this. Huddle administrator. I have no idea who that is. Oh, that's not me. Someone else made that. I don't know who that is. TTG. So there's two of me and Huddle administrator on this David's fun team. We've got, what is this? This is an OSC chat, I guess I was a part of. Here's a welcome huddles. Yeah, because I don't use it, it's very hard to, this is an ISO chat. And this is the Zoom Community Champions chat. Okay, so those are channels. And then meeting chats, there's nothing in here. And I'm not sure why, because I'm in meetings all the time and I use chat in meetings. I don't know why it wouldn't be saved here. They've got
to be continuous chats, David.
So maybe that's a setting that I need to tweak, that I don't have that turned on.
Yeah, you need a continuous chat. So after the meeting, it continues, and then it would be in there. And just to take note, there's a resources tab as well, which is rather good for dropping in files between groups.
Let me go back to that.
You look at the top.
Yeah, up at the top.
That's it.
Right. So you can drop files in here, images, videos, whiteboards. Gotcha. So let me go back into, so this is that account, and I'm curious about that persistent chat. Is this one of those things where you can only have that if you aren't using, what do you call it? If you're not using your PMI? Or is it like, is it only for scheduled meetings that you can have persistent chat? Yeah. So when you use your PMI, you don't have the option. You can only have persistent chat, continuous meeting chat, when you use an automatically generated meeting ID, which I'm sorry, but that, I mean, I get it because you don't want every chat in the same place. I absolutely understand why. Just, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Because that way each meeting would have its own chat spot. Okay.
And it would also be difficult for you to administrate the chat as well, Dave.
Yeah, no,
Shows on
absolutely.
tape, right?
Makes perfect sense. Yeah. But because I don't do that, I don't have any of those. And then, so what is apps? Oh, are these just notifications? Hi.
Oh, there's separate apps that you can get. I often use the music app prior to a meeting, and I don't have my own theme song, so I use the
No.
music app and
These are apps in chat.
in the chat. Oh,
They're apps in chat. So you've got channels, meeting chats, and then apps here. So I've got Google Calendar. I didn't put any of these in here. I've got Google Calendar, where it says, hi, I'm the Google Calendar notification app. I can remind you about events for Google Calendar. To get started, you'll need to link your Google Calendar account to Zoom, which I thought I already had, because if I go to my calendar, you can see my calendar there. So I'm not quite sure what that means. Click here to learn more. Okay. Sign to the Zoom app marketplace with your Zoom account. I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing here. Calendar. Yeah, that's already added. So I'm not entirely sure what else I have to do. Okay. Google Drive for team chat. Zoom clips or Zoom clip, not clips. Zoom docs. I can message Zoom docs. What am I, if I, hi there, what, I don't understand who I'm messaging if I message Zoom docs. Okay. Zoom invite approvals. Hi, I'm the Zoom invite approvals app. I will send external approved requests for you to approve or decline. And then Zoom workflow. Does anyone understand what these apps are here for?
David, when you create a marketplace app, you have the ability to integrate with the chat, and that's why they're there.
Okay. I'm not sure the use case for that, but okay. And remind me for a moment, like, can I DM someone who's not in my org? Is this, or I guess I'm thinking about this vis-a-vis like things like Discord and Slack. So in Discord, I can message someone who isn't in, who like I can message someone who, even if I'm not in the same Discord channel with them. And in Slack I can't, I don't think, can I? Where does this sit amongst those apps?
You've got to add them as a contact first.
Where?
So you've got to add them as a contact, and they've got to accept your contact. Otherwise, you could just randomly, connect to anybody on Zoom. So they've got to accept that, and then they come on your list, and you've got people down there on that list. Down as external because they're external to your domain, but you can chat with them.
But contact, where you said add them as a contact. Add them as a contact where?
Yeah. So if you went to, for instance, a list of participants.
Well, let's do it. Here I am. I'm in, and let's say I want to message you, John. Right. So I do click message, and then I can, John. So how do I find you?
Usually using an email address.
Anyone willing to see if this works with their email address? I'll just use mine.
Ray at myiv.com.
Okay. Ray at myiv.com. Add via email. External users will be able to see your company name. So let's see if this works. Ray at myiv.com is not your contact yet. We will send a contact request to the external user via email. Only plain text is allowed for the invitation message. Hi there, let's chat. Send contact request. Send with personalized message. Let's chat on Zoom. Send. You sent a contact request to ray@myiv.com. You can track the invitation from contact requests. Oh, that's under external. Okay. So let's back up here. So I did this, but let's look on the left-hand side. So there's all, mentions, DMs, channels, shared spaces. What are shared spaces? Create a shared space for your team. Organize channels related to large projects or departments in one place for focused collaborations. That's interesting. Can a channel be in more than one shared space? Anyone know?
I believe it can.
Let's do Zoom test kitchen. Share. So a shared, it's by default private. All right, so let's do create a shared space. And now there's here. And so now I can create in this shared space, I could say meetings. Anyone?
I would like to know what Ray has.
Yeah.
Whether he's got an email only or whether he's also got an invite through the app. Because when you do connect to people, usually through Zoom, you will get in the Zoom app a message saying that somebody wants to connect with you. So I'd be interested to know if the email's got Ray back into his app.
So real quick, before you answer that, Ray, I just want to, so I'm a little, all right, so team chat. So now I've got a new thing up here. Before it was just star direct message channels. Now I've got Zoom test kitchen. This is a shared space. And in that I've got general as a channel. Okay, so, and anyone could join this if I add them to my space. So I'm going to real quick add member Ray at myiv.com. So I can't add someone. I'm not sure.
He was there as you started typing Ray.
No, that's Ray Harwood. That's a different one. So Ray, what do you?
He's not accepted you yet.
What do you see on your end?
Well, I'm looking at my my IV email and looking for the invitation.
It's my Ivy, right? MYIV.
MYIV. Let me make sure I'm in the right. Did it go here? I didn't see anything in Zoom. And so I'm in my inbox. Nothing. Let me go to see if it's in, let me go to all mail. Meeting summary. I don't see the invite yet.
When it says, just for clarifications, when it says, let me just pull this up again. Sorry, external contacts. So what I'm in the external tab over here, and at the top I've got external contacts, contact requests, and sent chat invites. When it says external contacts, that means outside of my org. Is that correct? That's
Correct.
what external is?
Yeah. Yeah. External connections are anything that are not within your org, within your main licensing for all your licenses.
And do you have to have a Zoom account in order to, like, if Ray at myiv.com, if that wasn't a link to a Zoom account, would he still be able to respond? I mean, it seems that he can't even respond, though it is attached to a Zoom account, but
no, it's got to be a Zoom account. It's got to be a Zoom connected to a Zoom account. If you look down the list, you've got Andy, you've got people
Right.
down there who have all got Zoom accounts.
Right,
Okay,
but people
yeah,
without-
so my Zoom account is under R Franklin at Lemira.com. Lumirah.
Oh, so Ray at My Ivy doesn't have a Zoom account attached
That's
to it.
correct. But R Franklin at Lemira.com does.
I wonder if you didn't get the email because Zoom knows there's no account attached to it. That's interesting.
That's an alias that I use. John will explain that.
Could that be why though? Could he
Not necessarily. It should have still made it to Ray for one reason or another. But you should have.
I could help
and it
clarify
should
this.
also.
Oh
if
yeah,
ahead,
you would
John.
like.
please.
Thanks, John.
Yeah. A couple things. One, David, you're sort of making life harder for yourself. Imagine that you have a hammer, a spoon, a blender, a power drill, and some wood. And now you want to make a sailboat. You got all these parts,
Right, you
but
start.
they're not connected to what you're doing. So each of these features were designed to meet a specific workflow that a client or a customer that Zoom had, particularly large customers. And so the approach how you use it isn't how you manipulate the tool, but how it fits into the workflow. And when it comes up to internal and external, I have a personal Zoom account, I have a university Zoom account, and I have Zoom accounts for other clients that I work with. So I will show up as both personal, as internal and external, depending on how I have it set up. Aliases are dealt with in Google. If you happen to have Google aliases, you also have aliases in other mail servers. So how those are treated is impact on how you receive your mail, how it's processed. Zoom, unlike you were saying some of the other ones like Discord, but even Discord, you have to accept a friend. But Zoom focuses on privacy and making sure people are only seen by who want to be seen and in what use case. So in the university one, I make sure that my priority is students. Anybody who from a CSU email goes into that Zoom account. I have some externals, students who need to leave messages with me who have left the campus, and that lets me control that sort of workflow. So an approach would be not does this do this or that do that, and how do we invite somebody? Be what is the workflow that you want? And if you have an organization and you primarily are working with external people, you would configure your Zoom and permissions, and how you would send it out is that this is a customer facing Zoom implementation, and that way you have a lot of external connections within your organization. If it's primary internal and a few clients who work with you, so you would configure differently, and that's what you're going through here is that process of, well, how should we do it? Who should we do it? And what name would they use it by? I'm not sure if that made it clear, but it's attempting to explain that.
Well, so for my use case, everyone's external. No one is in my org. So how would I, with Discord, I would give them what I've done in Slack rather is I've built all the channels and then I send them an invite. You can add multiple people and send them an invite and they join. In Discord, I would send them the invite link. How do I do that here?
Well, you first would lay out how you want to do it. And essentially you have the ability, you have individuals who could be internal or external. You can make people internal with a free Zoom account. So a free, license. So you could set up yourself. You could do an internal and external with your own Zoom mail. The question would be, tell me what the use case is.
So, right. So here I am. I'm in, right? So I've got this, I created a shared space called Zoom Test Kitchen. And let's say hypothetically, I wanted to move our, our Discord over here, right? Now, not all of you are, none of you are in my org, and I'm not connected to many of you officially on Zoom. You're not in my contacts, wherever that is. I still don't know where contacts are. But so if I created this space, now if I come over here and I want to add you all or invite you all, this channel type is public for members, but I can't add people from outside.
You're talking about Discord now, or what?
No.
Where are you in? What are you in Zoom now?
Yeah, I'm in Zoom.
Okay, so in Zoom. So,
and it says,
David, at the bottom of that screen.
it says external users cannot be added. Well, how do I guess what I have to do is I have to add them first to team chat, then I can add them in here maybe.
No, this shared spaces is only internal use only.
No, it's not. Because look, I've got add member. None of these people, I can add all these people. And she even says, oh, wait a second.
External users cannot be added, internal only.
Add external. Yeah, I can add any of these folks who are well, some of them are not, I don't know why some of them I can and some of them I can't.
Because some of them have been deemed external and others are not.
No, but this one up here, this says external, and somehow I can add them. This just says external, I can add them.
Dave, I think one of the things that you said is you didn't know where your contact list really was. So,
Right.
So a good example, Discord. If you're playing around with Discord, you have no idea who the email address is. You could only do it within the Discord system.
But that's true. But I can I can click on members and I can see exactly who's.
That's right. And people internal to that system who have given permission for that information to be shared with you will appear on a list in Discord that you could do it. It does it differently in, what was the other one you said? Slack, and it does it differently when you're in Office 360. So it's you have people who you know their email addresses of. You could ask them what email address do they use professionally or personally, and then you could use that email to invite them to a specific Zoom account that you own.
Understood. I just can't. Yeah. Okay. What I really want to do, I think, is I would create a shared space for Zoom Test Kitchen. I would create another shared space for, my temple. Now, see, I don't know why it says private and only I wonder if that's a setting.
Why would you create a shared space and not a channel?
Because I don't want everyone to see all the channels. I want to organize my channels into shared spaces.
So, David, the question would be, for example, a use case, let's say, for example, that you have a weekly study group and it's you with a bunch of external people and you're doing it over Zoom and you would like them to be able to know the chats, know how to log into the meeting every week and do the catch-ups. You might even want to use the AI. You can configure a Zoom meeting that has people attached to it, and they would have all these functionalities just for that meeting. So that study hour that you do each week with, some of your people that are in your organization, that would be isolated from anything else.
Right.
Which is very different than you want to say, all of us in various relationships, and some of them you would like to be able to interact more directly with Zoom Test Kitchen. So you could have something that really is very focused, and like Discord, when we go into office hours, we know we're not getting the whole world of Discord. We're getting that subset. Within Discord, you could even do private groups and settings, mass mailings, whatever. So Discord is a magical mystery, as is, you know, the various, I'm trying to think of this Slack, which is the one I have a hard time getting my head around. So if you draw it out, you can go through here and in the Zoom help, they tell you how to set up different things. You saw earlier documents. We could have a Zoom document associated with a regularly Zoom test kitchen that would have the upcoming events, the history of all our events, all the recordings, the transcripts, very much like you're doing with your show on Thursday, the rundown, and you're just doing that through a continuous sharing of a Google space.
A Google Doc through Discord. Yeah. What can someone help me? I don't understand. When I come in here to create a new shared space, why is my only option private? Why can I not make that? I just went in. Who can add members?
You have to go to the account settings to change the global.
Yeah, so I did that. So here I am in my account settings, and I don't see anything for that. Shared spaces. Allow users to create shared spaces. This is the only setting that there is for shared spaces. Use Google Groups to create team chat channels and chat. Set up me, huh?
So one of the things that happens in this is that things don't live in isolation. So you just ran into a place where there's a fairly strong integration between, or integration capable between, a Google workspace and a Zoom workspace. And sometimes you get confused because Google has channels and chat and whatever. So does Zoom. So unfortunately or fortunately, there are many pages of setups that you can get through the web site, which is your admin backend. And then there's your client where you might do some of these activities. And you have done some linking already to your Google workspace. Or do you have a Google workspace, or do you just have a personal Google space?
I have Google workspaces.
I heard multiple ones. So which ones have you associated with your account?
Neither. None. I haven't really made that connection. I mean, I've connected my calendar and my mail, but I haven't done a formal connection between Google apps and Zoom apps.
Well, you can do things with mail and calendar without having that, because Google will let you subscribe to calendars and send calendars. So what gets confusing is there are things you could do as an individual with your personal Google Calendar that is totally in your control. Then there are other things that are in the control of either of the Google workspace, and how you then assign that to the members of the workspace.
Yeah, yeah. Is it just me, or this feels very confusing. I'm not.
Maybe, can I suggest you have a look at the channels?
I'm not sure why I can't.
Have a look at the channels.
Yeah.
You will see that the private and public only relates to whether people can find it or not. That's how it's defined in the channels.
Create a new channel, right? So, but here's my question. See, channel type is public or private. Anyone in your org can find, preview, and join, or only invited members. Again, I'm not dealing with tons of people in my org, but that's fine. Because I'm a snob about organization, I want to create a shared space for this committee, a shared space for this committee, a shared space for this committee, and then
you can. But what it's saying about private, it's just saying that people can't find it and join themselves. You've got to join them.
Oh, okay.
It's not inferring anything else. It's just inferring it's got to be invited members can join it.
Ray, give me your what's your Zoom email again? Do you mind?
R Franklin
Yeah.
at Lumira, LUMIRAH.com.
Yeah. Nothing. So I'm guessing what I have to do.
Chopped liver?
Okay, however, so I'm gonna invite a new contact. I'm lonely.
So
You sent a contact request to rfranklin@lumira.com. You can track the invitation. Okay. So now he should have a contact thing from me.
checking now.
Yeah. By the way, we don't have to keep doing this. If this is boring for everyone, this is something we haven't really spent any time on. So I thought the chat feature might be interesting to look at. But I'm happy to be told to shut up at any point.
No, the chat feature is pretty amazing because when you look at Stream of Live, they've done amazing things with chat, and to be able to compartmentalize chat and let you use chat for the audience and chat for your users and chat for, team members in a big meeting. Again, it's just, you could use it as a comms channel in addition to a Stream of Live channel. So chat does some pretty amazing things when you can connect all the dots.
Voila, it came into spam. So I've moved it to the inbox.
Oh, okay.
And I'm looking for it now. Zoom invitation from some guy named Paskin. View the invitation. It's on another computer. I would share it with you. And I can sign in as my own.
I wonder if I'll get a notification when he joins.
And let me get the password. And of course, I'm not signed on to my password account. Let's go. Zoom. Oh, this is it. Right.
I asked it to AI Command to write an introduction to me. Hi, I'm David Peskin, a seasoned professional in the field of cloud computing and IT. Is it just making that up? Like, where did it?
May copy the password.
It doesn't know you like ChatGPT knows you.
Now it did better. Hi, my name is David Peskin. I'm excited to join this conversation. Well, at least that's generic enough that it works.
Not sure why I got a notice that said invalid link. You must sign on with the account associated with this link. So, John, I don't sign on. I don't sign on with Lumira.
Yeah, I'm Ray again. I don't know how you've configured your stuff there and how you set your mail that went to spam, because that should have been an individual mailing. So that's a little confusing to me.
Where are my contacts?
Part I knew.
Oh, there they are. It just wasn't at the top. I'm sorry. So here are my contacts. External. So Ray at myiv.com, by the way, it says pending. rfranklin at lumira.com says pending. It's interesting. These personal contacts, I mean, that's my wife and my daughter, but I'm not entirely sure why those are under personal and not external, because they're not in my org. Company contact. Oh, right. Okay. So these are my org contacts, basically. Huh. Nothing, Ray, on your end?
Nope. I not able to make the connection. I'm not sure why.
All right. Well, big time fail.
I'll respond in the middle of the night when I finally get through. John's probably going to help me fix up my mess anyway.
I really want to. I really would like to move
We need a test account for the Zoom Test Kitchen.
Well, I have a Zoom Test Kitchen account. I mean,
Can we do can we do it that way?
so you want me
Like sending an email to the test account?
yeah.
Or just
Yeah.
stay in its test kitchen, but just create an email to test
I'm not
whatever
sure.
is it a Google alias?
No, it's ZTK at it's under my it's a
Yeah, because that's inside. So if it was a Zoom alias, would that help, John?
First rule of IT and setting things up is you draw a map of what you want, figure where it is, because there are multiple points of failure if you don't know where these different things are connected.
I'm not sure, Ray, what you're trying to accomplish. I mean, I can log
I
in
was
with
just going to give you something other than my email to test with. That's all.
oh. Well, I can't test with any of my emails because they're all in my org. So, you know what?
But
I'm canceling the chat. It ain't working.
do you
No.
have a gmail.com account where you could go in and create an alias Zoom Test Kitchen test at gmail.com?
Right. I'm afraid of doing we can't even get a real email to work. Forget an alias. So I'm a little hesitant to add more complications into it. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I don't know. I just seems to me that look, I'm sure that major corporations are using it really effectively. Again,
I'll send you a note in Discord, David.
So, David,
my is
do you have chat enabled
do I have
here?
chat enabled? Of course.
So let me, I gotta find my window here. Just
When you
one
say chat
second.
enabled, where and what? You mean in meeting in the
Let
back?
me, hold on. I want to send this to everybody. This is the Zoom team chat support. So some of the problems you're having is the configuration of setting a Zoom team chat and what the features are. Then you go beyond that in the community. There's a number of people who have set up this and you could mirror it. So I think the sort of just playing around and pushing things and doing back and forth adds confusion.
Yeah, you're probably right. I think so. Once again, I have a feeling that my problem here is that I'm using Zoom as an individual rather than as part of an org. And if you're part of an org and you've got 40,000 kids on your campus and professors, then adding them into a shared space or any of that, because they're all in your org, it's easy. It makes perfect sense, I'm sure. Because I use this, or I want to use it like Discord or Slack, where I don't care if people are in my org. I have their email, I invite them, they click on it, and they're in. Done.
And you can do that, David.
Yeah, it just doesn't. I haven't.
I mean, part of the problem I think that affects people like us in here is we complicated because you have, how many different Zoom accounts do you actually have?
Well, I have a whole bunch, but that's not really the point. I mean, I'm in one. I'm inviting someone.
Well, no, but it is, because one of the problems, if you have multiple ones, it's sort of hard to keep track of what are the configurations that you have in your client versus what you have in the main setting. So if you were to, if I were to advise you as a consultant, I would say pick the Zoom account that you want, which is your personal account. Describe what you want it to be. Make sure your contacts in there is what you want it to be. Then correspond with the people who you want to add to work with it. And you could set up you could set up exactly what you did here. You had to do that for Discord. You have to do that for Slack. Those don't automatically happen in those systems either.
Right. And I'm not not slamming Zoom chat. It's just doesn't seem to be working right now. So I've sent 2 invites to Ray to 2 different email addresses, one associated with Zoom account, one not associated with Zoom account. My settings in the back end are allow, anyone. It's open for everyone. The only thing I don't have enabled is the chat etiquette tool. And he can't seem to get in with either of those invites. So that's all. I'm just I'm sure you can do it.
My assumption is that if you were doing this not live and we would know what things you had open, and we, like Ray said, if we tried with somebody else who was just a simple Zoom account, but this is the live demo feature, I guess, challenge. It should be working perfectly, but I have no idea.
Right. Oh,
what's in your system.
I have no doubt about that. So now I've sent another one to Ray to a different email account. I'm going to go into my contact requests. So sent a contact request, See if this does anything. I actually really do like the idea of shared spaces. That's a nice feature. I would also get a lot more out of this if I were doing what you said before, John. If I'm starting in the chat, but if I started by scheduling a meeting with all my people and they were all in that meeting and I turned on continuous chat, then they would all automatically be here. So I'm also sort of starting from the wrong end of this, perhaps.
I don't know whether there's a right or wrong end, but the purpose is that it's best to define the flow that you want. I had the same personal feeling when I first got onto Discord. I couldn't figure out where I was, who it was, who's a friend, who's not a friend. And it wasn't until I mapped out the way that Discord worked and went to Discord through their support that I learned that it was the typical. Whenever I go into a room and there's something wrong and I have to fix it, I have to explain to people. They said, "Oh, well, you had a problem with the OFF switch. The person forgot to turn the projector on." And it's the sort of same thing here. I'm sure there's something simple that we've done, but I don't know where it is. Because on a regular basis, we work with the state parks. So we have parks personnel who are part of the interpreters. We have the classroom teachers who are receiving the electronic field trips, and they're in specific groups. And then we have ongoing chats and documents related to a specific park. So a particular teacher can be chatting with the interpreter over an event that they're going to be doing specifically for a class, but they are also in another group that lets them see the history of other teachers who had the same lesson so they could learn from others. So once you lay it out, it becomes very robust.
So the one that I just sent to Ray, he said expired, but so I just sent you another one. Go ahead, Tony. I'm putting everyone to sleep, Tony. Wake us up.
Well, I was just curious to what type of Zoom account do you have to have in order to access this? Is this part of the paid plan only, or business, or what?
It's definitely in business. I'm almost positive it's in a paid plan. Is it available in free? I don't know. Interesting question. I'm not sure. Frank, you're not being any help at all today. You're the only one here who actually uses this.
Yeah. I don't know. Mike and I chat on Zoom chat occasionally.
Mhm.
And is that because you added each other as a contact? Is that
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
And sorry, when you added him as a contact, it was the same way I just did it? It was like you sent an email?
Zoom sent an email.
Yeah, Zoom sent an email invite. Okay.
But I don't know how often the Zoom server sends emails. I don't not all systems are set up to send emails out instantaneously. Sometimes they send them in batches.
Oh, okay.
And I think, David, there's some more basic questions. Do you want this to be a one-on-one chat? Do you want this to be a group chat or a channel chat?
I just want to have the person in here so I can talk to them. That's all I want.
Well, then, so you're asking to set up a one-on-one chat.
No, I'm asking to add them as a contact. I'm trying to add him as a contact. He's external to my org. I'm trying to add him as a contact. And for whatever reason, it's not wanting to do that. I don't know why.
I'm signed into too many accounts, David. I'm sorry. We should have set this up front.
Yeah, it's all right.
David, also, I'm an external with you in the Zoom Test Kitchen account. You and I have done this already, where you and I are external.
Okay, hold on. Let me switch to Zoom Test Kitchen. All right. So now chats and channels. Okay. So Mike is here. So this is I just switched to the Zoom Test Kitchen. Probably should have been here, period. So let me try it from here. So here I'm connected to Mike and Tony and Andy. These are Zoom. Okay. Well, here again, I'm gonna.
Okay, David, I've done it successfully between two of my accounts, and I have an email.
Yeah. Ray at ZTK invite. All right, Ray, I'm sending you another one through the Zoom Test Kitchen account. And, okay. Separate DMs one section at a time. Okay. All right. Hi, Hasmuk. Ooh, John is here twice. Hi, Dan. How are you?
Doing well.
All right. All right. Well, I guess we're forget the chat. Bad David. Bad idea. It wasn't a bad idea because I still don't understand it.
That's what we're here for. What are you talking about?
It's not too much to ask. Okay. There is who's this from? This is John. So you click on the view invitation.
Okay. So I've sent an invite from one of my accounts to another one of my accounts, and I got that email.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I just rubbed out the link URL and the name.
Are both of those accounts in the same org, or are they separated?
They are both members of different Zoom domains. So they're external to each other.
What's the value? Well, maybe this is the value of having a bunch of free accounts that you connect to your org. Is there a value to that, to having, like, if you have a business account, even a pro account, you can add other users to your org, even if they're just free. What's the value?
Well, let me do two things on that one. First, I want to say what John just showed you is how it normally works. So I don't know what the confusion is with your system and Ray's system, but Zoom works the way John did it with whatever he did with his systems. So the second is that whether somebody's in your organization or outside your organization, not only in Zoom, but also in Google Workspaces or Google for Education, it's nice when somebody who is identified as a member that you don't have to make permissions for. So like in our university, when we have a power outage, anybody who has a .edu address gets something. if we want somebody who is not part of the EDU, but the local fire department or the external police, they have to be an external member. And then you have different levels of permission. They could get everything that's mailed from the campus, or you have to consciously do that. So in Google, you may see when you send something to somebody and it flashes up, warning, this is external. I don't know if you've seen that in any of yours. Are you nodding yes? You've seen that? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So at our campus, I get that warning all the time. It's set that way. Anytime I'm sending something that's outside the campus, it says, do you know they're outside your organization? So with a free account, you don't have to pay for somebody, but have them be part of that. And so they are part of your internal organization.
How are Frank? Can I ask you a question about notifications with chat? How do you get those notifications? How is it just through the Zoom app? Do you also get email notifications?
You definitely get a notification in the app, but I believe I get an email as well.
I guess part of why I'm asking is because in Slack, I've had a lot of folks that they don't get the notifications, and it's really, really frustrating because they're not checking it all the time like I am, and they end up missing things.
Well, you're trying to get people to do a behavior. For example, on one of my accounts, anytime a Zoom meeting starts, I get a note. Somebody's entered your Zoom room.
Right.
I don't get that for the other accounts, and I'm personally controlling that.
Right.
In an organization, you can do setting. Frank, you may know this better. Can you push notifications for certain things? I know we push notifications for any emergency announcement on the campus, and it doesn't matter what you've said in your notifications, it will break through, a little bit like the Amber Alert on the phone.
Yeah, I think so. I think if you enable it, you can subscribe all of your internal users to a channel. And then if you post a message to that channel, everyone gets a notification.
Yeah. I'm only doing, one of my other day jobs is I worked with the Coast Guard and our community emergency response team. And we had Tsunami Week. And so we're learning a lot about, who gets what message when and how and what breaks through. I am a person who frustrates people because I turn chat every notification from Slack off. And I would be one of the people you're complaining about, David, who never gets a Slack notification.
Yeah, I'm not complaining. They're complaining. They want to get the notifications and they're not seeing them.
They have set something in there that prevented it.
I don't know enough about Slack to know if they've screwed up a setting or something. But now that I'm thinking about it, I wonder if so for the use case for me is that I have a board of directors, and I'd like for them to use Zoom chat as our form of communication. So maybe what I need, and because that board of directors is always changing, every couple of years, people go out and come in, to attach their private Zoom accounts, if they have one, to my org doesn't make any sense. But what I could do maybe is, create a VP of education account and a VP of finance account and then just change who is associated with those accounts. The accounts then stay the same and just change who's associated with those accounts.
Very smart, David. It's very much what, smaller IT companies will do for smaller businesses, is that they will set up generic email addresses instead of being very specific with the person's name or first initial, last name, or first name, last initial, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, variations. And that is very, very similar to what a lot of, I'm trying to think of the acronym, but a lot of the companies that are IT sourced, like if you hire an external IT company, they'll do something similar. Well, they'll have like president at, VP at,
Right.
CTO at, CEO at.
You just forward that email address to their personal email? Is that sort of
Correct.
the workflow? Yeah.
Yeah. But again, they could also, when they're replying back, depending on their email client, you could also reply back as either your personal account or then that corporate account.
Yeah. If they use IMAP, to map it over.
Yeah, we actually do a similar thing with the board of advisors with one group, so that they don't forget which meeting it is. So we have a Zoom meeting for it's an education advisory board for a particular park, and it's a recurring meeting, and there's a chat and a group associated with it. They haven't integrated Zoom Docs yet. They've been using Google Docs for all their stuff. But essentially, if they click into that Zoom meeting, everything they need for that is there or a particular Google Drive folder.
Okay. I'm going to look into adding them as members of my org, which would probably...
Other examples for free accounts too, David, is for me for testing. So if I'm testing certain things that I don't want to disturb any of my employees, I'll just make up dummy Gmail accounts.
Yeah.
And just basically, make them part of the org as free accounts. They won't be able to do anything great, but they can, I can do all kinds of team chat with them as free accounts. I can do anything because they're already part of the org at that point. Once you've added the free accounts to your, and again, they won't take up any licensing either.
Can I ask another question? So if I wanted to do what we just talked about, so here I came over into my Zoom account to add users. I've used all of my business licenses. What does unassigned mean? Is that what I would choose?
That's a basic account.
A basic account.
No license. Basically, if it doesn't have a license, then it's unassigned. So you could bring, we do that. We bring people in that have different email addresses, obviously. And then if we temporarily assign them a license, we'll move them around. That's how we.
Right. But this isn't creating, like I
No,
can't,
they get an email with an invitation to join your account.
Right. No matter if they have a Zoom account or not, David, then they need to have one made.
that was going to be my question. What if they don't have a Zoom account? What happens? Does anyone know?
Other way round, other way round, other way round. They cannot have a Zoom account somewhere else. They can only have a Zoom account in one place. If you've got a Zoom account with an email address somewhere else, you cannot add them to your org.
Well, if they're in an SSO, you're right. But if they're
if
an
you add them to
individual
your
account,
org, they will transfer across to your account and they will become part of your account. One email address can only be associated with one Zoom domain.
that's true. They're leaving their account and joining yours.
Well, they're not.
They would lose their privileges and they would come and join yours.
Yeah, they might lose their recordings. They might lose their. Right.
Yeah, if they agree to do it, they'll lose everything because their account will be shut down. They'll be moved across to yours.
Right. So what I was thinking of doing is instead of, let's say Karen at davidpaskin.com is someone's account, right? And that's someone I want to add to my org. What I was thinking of doing is instead of inviting her, I would create a new email, president at whatever the org is. I would create this email account or let's do
Well, David, you just ask them to set up an alias and you just add their alias. So they can have one email account, but they have an alias for joining your domain.
But that alias, because it's not associated with a Zoom account, when I add them, will that create a Zoom account for that?
Correct. That will create a free account.
It will.
Okay. For them. They will get an invite. You can use an alias. You don't have to, create loads of to do it. You can just create an alias for them, and they can get that. I in fact have aliases set up for all my devices. So all my devices have a separate email account. So each device can join Zoom as a free user.
Okay.
And they all come to an alias. They come to two. Well, there's two sets. So there's two domains, and all the aliases go into those two domains. So they don't have these separate email accounts. They just have one email account, and almost all my Windows devices all have their own separate account. So if I want them to join my Zoom meeting or my Zoom webinar or anything else I'm doing as individuals, that I log them in under that account. If I want them to take control of the meeting, I just switch accounts and they will join on the paid account that's needed to run the event or the meeting.
By the way, Ray, did you sent me an invite, it looks like, from a fourth email that you have? Dear Lord. Because I just got that. Okay.
But John, I really like what you're saying there. There's the third person who I've run across who's given a free Zoom account to every computer they have in their office with a label.
So I need to show people how to create an alias. That's my first step, right?
Okay, so there's a built-in alias system into Google.
Yeah.
We use I can't remember which character you use now. Which is it? Is the @ or the hash or something you use? You add it to the Gmail address, and it automatically becomes an alias.
Oh. Gmail aliases. Add or delete alternate email addresses. No, that's a workspace administrator. Add an email alias for a user. No, this is for Google Workspace. Oh, here we go. Add an address you own. No. Use Gmail aliases. Here we go. Messages sent to the following aliases will go to janedoe@gmail.com. Jane Doe plus school. Jane Doe plus notes. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Right. So you could do Jane Doe plus the name of the org, for example, at Gmail, and then I could just invite that. Okay.
I would caution you, David, that aliases in Gmail have some strange things happening with it. So I would write out what you want it to be and then see what should happen in Zoom, what should happen in Google, because done improperly, you could restrict it so you can't correct it, because once you do a mail, it's hard to recover from it, the email. So
Right.
if you want offline, I could send you the notes on how to do that, because we have set it up for the parks and it works very well.
Okay.
And in an Exchange, Active Directory environment, Microsoft, you don't have to create a mailbox and then do aliases. We just create a login on that domain, and then we have the permission set to another actual email address. So like me, if I wanted to accept emails from that generic email, and then that account could be a Zoom account, because those would go to me. And then you're not tying up another license.
Yeah, that the voice license I put that's both the strength and the weakness of Exchange, because external to your domain, you can't do that, but internally that works great.
What about? Oh, wait a second. What about Zmail? Zoom has mail too. Can you do this in Zoom mail?
Can't see why not.
So here's Zmail. Let's see. I assume I have to actually add an account. Okay, so Zoom mail. Let's create a Zoom account. Ooh, this is fun. All right, wait a second. Torah Tech Guy. at gmail.com. No, actually, let's do ZTK at gmail.com.
Not a great name though, is it? Cmail. It seems a little spammy, you know. It sounds.
I now have a Gmail account. I have no idea what to do with it. Wait, I did that actually in the wrong. I'm gonna change it. Let's do David at gmail.com. Just do that because I should really create that. Okay, so now I've got that. So now let's go over to, there it is. It's right there. It's connected.
So David, I just sent in the chat the configuring the account. So you might want to read through that before you start doing as much of it. But yes, you are at the start of setting up your Zoom mail client.
Inbox unread first. Okay. Now I just want to get to my mail. How do I get to my mail? Oh, settings. I'm in settings. Sorry. Okay. All right. There we go. So I'm now, where is, there's no way to actually see. Oh, I see. Oh, it's not a unified inbox. That's why I'm not using Gmail, by the way. Because
Gmail has a number of limitations and strengths. It only supports Zoom, Google, Microsoft 365 Exchange, and the Zoom mobile has some issues with Exchange. And the initial setup of your Zoom mail and calendar cannot be through the mobile app. You have to do your desktop app to set it up. And if you haven't set up your sharing of calendars and documents and some of the other things, there's an order which you probably would like to do that so it works efficiently.
so I could, presumably, sorry, there was a code that came up. I'll delete this email address afterward. But presumably I could just right here in Zoom create whatever I could create, say 10 accounts, one for each of my board members. And then I imagine I could, but I imagine that I could forward them right from here. Let me go into accounts, Gmail. How do I, inbox and messages, general. Is there like a forward? Contacts, vacation, senders, met, no. Templates, compose, reply. You have 50 gigabytes, by the way, of email. I don't know how to forward this to anyone. Maybe you can't yet. Filter messages. No.
David, can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, go ahead, jump in.
So, a long time ago, I joined my free account to the church's account. And the church has used all of their 5 gigs of storage. Constantly getting these notices that the storage is, I forgot what the term is. I'm getting notice
Reaching
that
your capacity.
there is no storage available, and I'm in the account right now. And when I signed into the account, it's showing the account under the church's user instead of my name. Do I need to click on request account ownership to get everything back in my name?
I don't know. What do you all think?
I think, Tony, you should send a note to support at Zoom. And they'll tell you the proper way of making sure that the right account is connected.
Tony,
Okay,
also my opinion too would be it would depend on how you guys structure your licensing as well for the church.
Can I show you what I'm looking at?
Yeah, of course.
As long as it's not anything private, Tony.
Well, there is an email, but there's no passwords.
Okay. That again, just for your security. That's all. Oh, hello, there's me.
That's you. That's the wrong one. Okay. So I was looking at this here where it says request account ownership as possibly the way, because that's not my name. Obviously that, and everything was in my name. So
Tony, whose account is this?
this is the media specialist for the church. That's, I mean, it originally was my account, my free account. They tried to join me as a co-host of the meeting, and we never could get it to work. And so they were paying an additional pro account monthly fee for me to be a part of it, but it wasn't working because I never did have, I could never start a meeting for the church. They still had to, I could become host, but they would still have to make me host.
So the way to do that, Tony, by the way, is I think we talked about this last time, is in their settings, you don't even have to be co-host, to be honest, but in their settings, when they schedule the meeting, set it up so that anyone can join before the host, set that time limit to 15 minutes, and then just as long as you have the host code that's on the back end, as soon as you go in to that meeting, you can go into the meeting first because anyone can join, and then you can just claim host. That's the workaround for people who are not, if you don't have an org, with alt hosts.
Okay.
But if you were in their org, they could just make you an alt host, I think. Right, Frank?
Yeah. I'm a little confused about some of the details Tony shared, but Tony, stop screen sharing for a second. All right. As a Zoom admin, this is not how I would go about doing what you're trying to do. I would go to the I would go to the users tab in the accounts management section.
My fault again.
Can't hear you.
Okay, Frank, you
Right,
cut out. I
thank you.
didn't hear anything.
Sorry, I was just saying, I'm not muted, am I? The way I would do this as a Zoom admin is I would log into Zoom web portal. I would go to account management. There's a section in there called users. I would look for your email address in the users section, and then I would see what license you have and what role you have in the system. I'm still confused about what you're trying to accomplish. If you don't want to be part of the account, or you want that email back so you can have a free account that's not associated with that organization, then you need an admin to delete you from their Zoom license.
Unlink you.
Unlink you, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I can do that.
The minute you invite someone to your organization, Zoom will make a big warning and it'll tell the user and it'll tell you, like, you're joining a new organization. You're now part of their licensing structure. You're not part of, like, you're basically giving up your old account that's autonomous and you're becoming part of their account.
Okay. Thank you.
And when you unlink someone from a Zoom account as an admin, it says, do you want to transfer that person's meetings, recordings, and things to a different user, or do you want them all to go bye-bye? And you have to decide that. So, like, if you're a company and John's quitting on Tuesday, but he has a bunch of meetings scheduled for a lot of different things, and those meetings have to continue, then you transfer all of John's stuff to somebody else. Or you take the loss if you don't care about John's stuff.
But they still have an account, right? They can just reset their password and get back into their account.
It depends
as an
if
individual.
Yeah. But you can unlink someone, or you can, and then there's different things you can do. What we do is we have 40,000 free accounts, basic users, Usually what we do is we check and see if someone's logged in through their account in the last year. And if they haven't logged in, we demote them to basic. And then after a certain amount of time, we delete them completely. And that way, if it's a mistake, we can promote them back to a person with a license.
We do the
Okay.
exact same thing. We report on inactive users and do exactly what you do. Yep.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you both.
Back to you,
Speaking
Dave.
of, oh, sorry. Speaking of
yeah.
basic users, I read that there's some new formula Zoom's using now for the amount of basic users you get. It's a percentage of your users. I think for every, I think it's for every 4 users or something, you get 1 basic user. It didn't used to work that way.
Sorry, back up, Frank. For every 4 in an org, for every 4 paid users,
Yeah, there's some kind of ratio like that. I might be wrong. It might not be 4, but I think that's what I recall reading.
Well, why can't anyone set up can't anyone set up a free account? I mean,
I'm not certain. Okay, you got to understand. I only know the perspective of an enterprise account. An enterprise account generally comes with 9,999 free users. That's the limit. That's the amount of free users you get on a corporate account, unless you contact Zoom support and make an argument why you need more. And usually you get your sales rep or your customer success manager or somebody to help usher that through the process. But I think for pro accounts, there's a different ratio. And I may not be exactly right about the ratio, but I know there's a specific limit to the amount of basic users they're letting people have now.
why what would they want to limit it because they want to push people to paid plan?
I think I would imagine they haven't said that, but I know about a year ago they changed the way basic users works. There's 2 kinds of basic users now. Basic meaning free. There's basic users who have a 40-minute time limit, and then there's basic users who can't even initiate a meeting.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I wonder why that's why they changed the wording of instead of when you showed licensed and unassigned.
Unassigned, yeah.
I think that unassigned is
That's when
what
that
you're talking about.
Yeah, that's when that happened last year when they came out with the new vocabulary.
Yeah, that unassigned doesn't make a lot of sense. That's not descriptive. It's not helpful.
Their definition of unassigned, David, think of it this way: unassigned a license.
Right. But they do have a license. It's just not a paid license.
It's an insult. You're less than basic.
I was told the other day that basic is actually a good thing to be basic. My girls were telling me that if I'm basic, that's cool.
Maybe they said base. Hey, you're base, man.
Oh, is that what it was?
I don't know. I'm old. What do I know?
So how was the email situation over there, David?
I have no idea.
Did you break it? Tell us. Did you break it in the kitchen?
No, I didn't break it. I deleted the email because that code came up and that's going to be on YouTube forever now. So I deleted that email. But and then I was also, as I was playing around with it, I was thinking, was it Dan who said something like Zmail sounds kind of spammy? I don't remember who said that, but as I was looking at my brand new spanking email, Rabbi David at Zmail, I started to think, yeah, that does sound a little spammy.
I finally connected with you, David, with one of my accounts that actually did have an active paid Zoom account. So
that
was able.
That's the key, right?
Yeah, I closed the loop there. Sorry.
Yeah, I see you here. Gotcha. Wow, we are connected. Yep. Gotcha. Sorry, Frank, go ahead.
Oh, I just circling back to give Tony one more bit of information. Your account has a certain amount of storage, and when you fill it up, you either have to delete stuff or you can buy more storage.
And we already know what they want you to do, Tony.
What else? What else are we doing? Anything else?
I wonder, are there any other storage, third-party storage that let you, like we use Kaltura and we have the hooks.
That's what we use. Yeah.
Yeah,
What's
we have the hooks so that every
what's-
user's recording goes to their
That's what we
Kaltura
do.
cloud storage. So I wonder if there's any other, like, can you do it with Dropbox
There's lots of different integrations. The thing is, it's not retroactive. If you've got 5 terabytes
already
of
there,
storage
yeah.
and you have to do it manually, there's no bulk download for
But-
Zoom.
But at least the new ones would, yeah.
The new ones would go into whatever service, but it's not retroactive. It doesn't hoover up everything. Hey, there's release notes.
I have a question too for David.
There are release
This
notes?
time.
I didn't even know that. Okay. Go ahead, Tamara.
I have an eCam question, David.
This is not the eCam test kitchen.
But it is an eCam Zoom question.
Oh, okay.
It's totally Zoom related. Because I have meetings that I'm doing that I want to use eCam to record. And I want to know, I guess I want to know what I'm doing, if I'm being honest. I'm not sure what my question is. I'm trying to figure out what the best way to do this is. If I can use eCam to do that, or do I have to run the meeting?
Best
And
way
if
to
I
do what?
do,
I don't understand.
okay, so I have a meeting and it has panelists on it on my meeting. And so I want to be able to record that. I normally record it, but it's just ugly and it's what it is, right? So I would like to use eCam.
You record it in Zoom, you're saying?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So I would like to do it in eCam where I can make it prettier. But if I do it in eCam and I use that as my meeting, it's going to have a delay, right?
If in any of these tools, if your audience is in the meeting and your panelists are in the meeting,
Right.
the audio from your panelists to your audience is going direct.
Right.
Your video, what you're doing is you're sending it to your machine and sending it in here. So there's going to be a sync issue,
Okay.
audio and video, if everyone is in the same meeting.
Right.
But if you're just recording, I don't think it really matters.
So so what I'm saying is, okay, so let me just think this through, and I apologize for sounding so stupid, but I'm determined to learn all of these tools that I have invested money into. This is one of them. If a meeting is going on, can I record that set it up in my screen and record from my computer, the meeting that is going on? Or do I have to be controlling that meeting? You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Where are you recording?
I would be recording to my computer, or I want to be recording somewhere else.
Recording, or because you can local record in Zoom if they give you permissions. If you want to capture the individual cameras and then build a scene in eCam, then yes, what would happen is when you try and first start capturing, everybody in the meeting will get a pop-up that says, hey, this meeting is either being recorded or live streamed, depending on what you choose. And then as long as the host gives you permission, then you can.
Yeah, I'll have permission and everyone will already know that it's being recorded, so they won't have a problem hitting that that's being recorded. So my meeting's happening in like one machine. I'm a participant in that machine, whatever. If I bring my Zoom machine in and my Zoom machine gets hosting capabilities, then my Zoom machine can just pull and create their own thing without affecting the main meeting? Or does it affect the main meeting if it's recording? I've confused you because I'm confused.
How would it affect? I don't know what you mean by affect the meeting.
Well, if I'm pulling if I'm pulling people into my eCam, that is just going to affect my computer. It's not going to affect.
Doesn't affect anything.
Doesn't affect anything.
No.
So like if I were in this meeting, for example, and I was doing my own little eCam thing here, I could record, and you all agreed to it. I could record, and your meeting is your meeting.
Absolutely.
Oh, cool. That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah,
I was hoping that was the answer.
But you might get a delay. Sorry, the audio might be in advance of the video. If the eCam is processing the video and you're taking the audio straight out of Zoom, then there's going to be a sync issue between the audio and the.
No, because when you record through eCam for Zoom, you're grabbing the audio through eCam also. So both audio and video are going from Zoom into eCam, then out to your computer.
Got it. So I'm just doing my eCam thing over here. They're doing their meeting over there, and I'm just making a recording of it.
Yep.
In the way that I want to make the recording.
Yep.
All right. I'm starting to really love eCam. Thank you very much.
That should be the case.
And of course, Tamara, they just have to let you in
No, I'm going to let me
as
in.
a participant.
More than that, they're going to have to give the host will need to give permission to record.
Right. So I can do that as well. And then I can also, that's all of those things I'm not worried about because I'm also running the meeting. It's just, I want to be recording it differently.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. What else?
Release notes.
Oh, yeah. So they're coming Monday, and we're finally getting the extra button. We're getting the record button, which makes me so happy. All right, let's do some release notes. Wait, I have to make a note here. Change that to 1, and then I'll pull up the release notes. Okay. Are you making me already? I wasn't ready. You caught me off guard. Here we go.
Of course.
Here we go. So 6.4.3. Are these the notes you were referring to, Frank? Just to make sure.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So voice recorder with AI companion. This is what, let me turn my face off. There we go. Users can, so this is coming Monday. Users can use AI companion to capture in-person conversations with the Zoom mobile app. They can start voice recordings directly from the app, including for scheduled calendar events. Users can access the summary recording and transcript and tag speakers from the calendar card of the Zoom Workplace app, both on mobile and desktop. I'm excited about this one. This is the one that for in-person meetings, I think we'll have to see what it looks like, but I'm very excited about this. Enhanced Zoom Workplace app interface for signed out users. Okay, so if you're signed out, you'll see some beautiful workplace interface tabs that reflect Zoom products. So they'll be selling you things, I guess, is what they're saying. You'll seamless sign in because the last login will be saved. And upon signing in, users will only see the products as per their license entitlements. Why would, before they have showed us things that aren't part of our license entitlements? I don't know. I'm not entirely sure how that's different. Is that it? And then some issues? You got me all excited, Frank. This is like 2 things.
Yeah, but I'm excited about the first thing.
Or yeah, no, that is the thing. Absolutely. Is that something that you would use, Frank, in a university lecture, perhaps?
First, I have to see if we get to use it. We don't always get to use everything, but if it works, I'll probably be trying it out in meetings. I hate taking notes,
right?
Like in face-to-face meetings.
Yep. I hope that it's not as intrusive as things like Fathom AI, and I can't. I have a meeting. One guy brought one of those into one of my meetings once, and now every time I start a meeting, it shows up, and it just drives me berserk. Just drives me crazy. So I hope it's just a nice little button on our phones that we can press if we want it. Any issues, resolve minor bug fixes, an issue where GIFs, whatever, stored locally on an end user device were not properly cleaned up. Okay. That's that. 6.4.2. What does this mean? Oh, this is just for Windows. The 0.2 was just for Windows. The 0.1 was also just minor stuff. The additional characters was in 0.1. Okay. All right. We got our voice recorder. Very nice. Thank you, Ray. What else?
Mike. Turn
So,
on your
John.
mic, Mike. And wasn't there some things that went from Zoom events and sessions down to Zoom webinars?
Quite possible. Yes. Do you
I'm just
remember?
trying to think through all the things that you went through and trying to think which ones went down to webinars.
I can tell you 100% the production studio did not, as much as everybody wants it to. I can 100% say that. And again, Tamara, that also, if you did have Zoom sessions or Zoom events, that was something that John and I were sort of talking about in the background, that potentially you could actually use production studio to do your recording too, because people do. And then you could actually eventually use that video for SimuLive if you really want to go down that road of using
gosh.
Zoom sessions and such.
I
But
want
yeah,
to learn eCam.
because the production studio is actually a lot less technical because it's built into
I
your
know
client.
production studios because I am training to TD for office hours on Sundays. So I get that, how that works. I just don't know what instances that works with. Like there's so many different Zoomy things now. There's meetings. There's webinars. There's all the things. So I'm trying to figure, I want them to give it to everybody. Just so we can.
Tamara, is that there's really still only two things. People think that sessions and events are different. They're not. All those are wrappers around meetings and webinars. That's it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
And in theory, really everything is, if you really come down to it, it's a session ID, AKA it's a meeting.
Right.
It just becomes different flavors of meetings as you go up higher in
Yeah,
the
but with the session ID though, like with a meeting, I can have 100 people, and I can do 1 million meetings with my pro account. I don't have more than a pro account. My little sessions account is teeny tiny, so it's a one-shot deal.
Do you
I can use it.
Tamara, out there in the West, can you get the single business license yet?
I think so. I just haven't looked into it yet. I think I can get it. I know I had looked. Does a single business license give me more of what I'm looking for? Do you think?
Gives you 300 people in the meeting.
So,
and
but
the word in the whenever I speak to a Zoom salesperson, they always say that it's going to be discontinued soon.
What is
the this extra ability to order under 100 licenses?
Under 10, you mean?
Sorry, under 10.
Really?
Yeah. Well, every time I get in touch with, I'm in touch with the Zoom salesperson. I don't know if they're spreading the rumor to get us all to make use of the offer, which is possible.
But presumably, if you have it, you can.
If you have it, it is unlikely Zoom will take it away from you, because Zoom does have a habit of honoring licenses as long as you keep paying for them.
But does that license give me, because I have mostly small meetings, but I want production tools. So what I'm trying to figure out is right. So that's where eCam will let me do that, right?
It gives you 1080p, gives you 4 things: 1080p, 300 participants in a meeting, Q&A, and I think better support.
And then I would still need to use eCam to do my recording and stuff like that. Yes, Dan, David?
Well, you can I mean, you can record in Zoom, but if you want the produced version,
I want a produced version. So I either have to go to this is where it's confusing.
That's-
Like I
that-
either have to go to an event or webinar to get production tools or
production studio, backstage, that's all events stuff.
right.
That's not
Right.
connected.
It doesn't even go down to lower than that. Got you.
I'm
See,
sorry,
I'm
Mike.
a Zoom user and I'm confused. So I just put that out there into the universe in case Zoom is listening.
I was just wondering
Because
if
I
you
love
guys
Zoom.
could you repeat that, because I missed part of it. You're saying that it's not going to be an option for other people to get the one person business account?
I have spoken to 3 or 4 Zoom salespeople in the last couple of months, and all of them have said it's going to be discontinued. And yeah, I had one said it's going to be discontinued. I spoke to him and he said, "Oh, it's going to be discontinued tomorrow." And I said, "Well, it's on my account now." He said, "Well, if you refresh it later, when the US wakes up, I expect it'll have gone," and it hadn't.
Okay, that's a
You know what
I think they are still, as far as Zoom is concerned, in the organization, it's still on test. They're still evaluating it. They're still looking at it. I think it's a good idea, and I think they will get more revenue. And I think there's a good use case for many people who are going to be in the 80, 90 seat environment, who would find 300 seats a much more relaxing way to run their events, knowing they're not going to get full. The one thing we haven't mentioned is if you go to Business Plus, you've also got Zoom Phone and a lot of features out of Zoom Phone, which is actually quite a good package now for business users who want a telephone call.
That's additional. That you have to pay additional for that. But I did forget you do get Zoom
scheduler
clips. You get more and schedule. Yeah, that stuff is all included also.
Yeah, my meetings generally are small, and I have a system that will allow me bigger meetings because I can use them through Obvio. But I'm just trying to figure out how to get more production tools. But right now they're limited to. So my hopes and dreams are not yet met through Zoom, but they are met through other people. Thank you.
Tamara, just remind us too, you are paying for sessions, the PPA, because you have all the liminal apps.
Yeah, so I pay for the sessions, but I very rarely use them because I use my Zoom meetings are small. So
you already have access to Production Studio for free because you're paying that.
Right. But I can't use that in a regular Zoom meeting. Right?
John, you can explain that a little more.
Yeah, it's got to be in a webinar.
Right. So that's what I think Robert had suggested that one way to do it, which I can see that now that I've been dealing in webinars, is to just make your audience part of your webinar if you still want that interaction. But that won't work for some of my events. So
and of course, if you want the interactivity at the end, you could also turn that webinar and actually use breakout rooms.
Right. I just think that sounds really complicated to get Zoom production tools, and I'll just wait patiently until an answer that makes sense. Because there's just so many options. And I do appreciate that with Zoom that they've given us eCam and they've given us other options, and I'm happy to use the other options.
And I just want to be clear, the one person business account is not available in the US right now anyway. Is that correct?
I believe some states think they've got it.
Yeah, it's available where I am in Florida.
I'm checking right now because I think I saw it.
Go into an incognito window and you log out of so that you're here. I'll pull it up. I have it up here. Zoom.us. Let me go into incognito real quick. And you go to zoom.us. So I'm in, for what it's worth, I'm in South Florida. Go to pricing. Plans and pricing, that's really what you want. But here's business by now. And then it actually defaults to 1, which is interesting.
On the main page, David, it actually had 1 to 250.
Yeah. The minimum amount of users is 1. And if you do, so $220 versus what's a regular one?
I think I'm paying 15.
Yeah, I mean, so when I look at the upgrade button in just my account, I'm a pro account user and I can upgrade to business account and it'll be
$5.
1832 annually and 21.99
Right.
monthly, which is only a $5, like, $5 difference. So
$5
It's
more.
not letting me upgrade when I sign in my account and I try to go from the pro to the business. It's telling me I have to have 10 licenses.
well, I'm checking that right now. When I click on the upgrade, it just says minimum amount is one user.
That's so strange
And
because you and I,
it,
Tony, we're not far from each other. I mean, that's weird that
I'm going to
they
try to
like us
sign in
better.
incognito.
Yeah,
But
I did it straight from I'm signed in and it gave me an upgrade button and I clicked on upgrade and I got kind of the same thing you got. I can do monthly 21.99 and annual 1832 for 219.90.
okay, I'm going to sign in and see what it's showing me.
And I'm really tempted to do it. Killing me right now, guys.
Because I need to sign out of the free account. Yes.
Yeah, I too have a bunch of accounts, so
So
and
I'm going
only I
in
think
to
3
the
of them are
paid
paid accounts.
account.
I'm fascinated that I have it in Florida, but you don't have it in Atlanta. That's really interesting to me.
Okay, let's see. I'm in the account.
Why do you think my gut about why if they're canceling these or if they will cancel them, my gut about why is because not enough people took advantage of it.
Or too many people. And they can't,
Or too many people. Yeah.
you know, when you're servicing one admin for 10 accounts, that's way different than servicing 10 different people.
Yeah, but it's a 30% increase in fees for them.
Yeah, I don't get it, but
But then you might lose out on large meeting add-on sales.
Right. From 100 to 500. Right. If you need,
it's true because I do on the events that go bigger, I can always increase my meeting size.
Okay, so let's see. It's still saying, yeah. So let me show this to you guys. So
So
that's the right place, isn't it?
yeah, and when I clicked upgrade, when I clicked the upgrade button, it brought me to another screen. And that's the right. So if you upgrade, then oh, you're right. Yours says 10. Mine says 1. That is fascinating.
Wow. Yeah. It's not
I'm
out.
so sorry, Tony. That's so mean.
That's so.
Clear your cookies and cache, and maybe it'll change.
Oh, maybe that's a good idea. I like that plan.
Clear my cookies and cache.
Well, did you do this in an incognito window? Because then it wouldn't.
No, I signed into the account
Oh, okay.
after. Now I can sign out and just try to come in as incognito. Let's see.
Because you're right. That may be why it's
Yeah.
pulling it from the cache.
Let me see it.
Let's see if I sign out.
Did you figure out your space? Did you buy cameras and microphones?
They bought cameras and they bought computers and they're super proud of themselves. And we're gonna solve the sound problem a little bit later on.
What kind of cameras?
They just bought these little PTZ
Yeah.
meeting room cameras and they're super excited. Actually, the camera is an upgrade from the Zoom Portal because the Zoom Portal was old. So the camera is definitely an upgrade. They bought one of them, which means they are still using the other very cheap laptop as the camera for the audience. And it is exactly like you think it is. Nauseating. But we're going to solve that problem in the next go round.
Okay, I refreshed and I'm signed out and it looks like it's the same.
That's so mean. I don't like that.
So, and let me make sure. So it's asking me to sign in over here,
Mhm.
and it's still saying 10 users.
Well, now I feel more pressure to get my business account.
I think you better go ahead and get it.
Yeah,
just in case.
Stop it. You guys are mean friends.
Yeah.
I have spent so much money because of you guys.
Yeah, Tony doesn't have access yet.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
magic of television, and of course, not recommended. And Zoom, close your ears. What happens if you use VPN? Okay.
That's a whole other thing.
You know what? I actually do have one, but I don't think I'm using it on this computer. Did I
to
say
cheat on
that?
a test.
I didn't say that out loud,
With
did
the
I?
Zoom test kitchen.
That's why I closed my ears when I said what I said too, Tony. Okay.
Yeah. I'm a little disappointed, to be honest.
Once again, I always suggest to, get in touch with, what is online, but it's amazing when you actually talk to someone locally, a human body on the other end of that phone, what magical deals all of a sudden fly at you that aren't public.
I have another thing too.
We know
Do you think it has? Do you think it has anything to do with that I've already paid for the year?
No, because mine shows up and mine is paid for the year. They just want me to repay for a year.
Oh, we know it's not rolled out everywhere yet. It's
Yeah.
for whatever reason you're in a black site, a black ops site, whatever.
But you could contact them directly because I've worked in websites before like this, and it's usually a little switchy switch for customer service. So it might not be as difficult.
For what it's worth, Tony, you're not missing much. Like, I mean, I got it because I really wanted Q&A in meetings.
Mhm.
I've never ever used it.
Yeah.
I was excited about having 300 participants. I rarely have more than 10.
Well, I really I wanted it, being transparent. I wanted it for myself, but I also wanted it for the church because the church is not used. The church is using the same plan that I have,
And 10
I'm
would be good for the church. There's no doubt.
yeah I'm pushing them to invite people and to, we're limited to 100, and I would like
Yes.
to the capacity to be there to say, hey, we got 300 slots. Come on now, let's get the people in here.
Right. For an extra 60, 50, 60 bucks a year, if you can get a single license, it's absolutely worth it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't need it because I pay $200 a month for Obvio and I have 1,000 participants. But I would like it because I can't bring Zoom OSC into Obvio with my license with them. And so it would be nice sometimes when I know I want that to use that bigger license outside of Obvio and just attach it.
I don't have time to get the whole story now, Tamara, but I'd love to learn more about Zoom. Because Avio uses Zoom, right? It's not its own.
Avio uses Zoom. What Avio is, which is why I use it, is that it is basically a dashboard that enters you into Zoom. So it comes with the pro account comes with 5 Zoom meetings that you can do amazing things with. Like you can scale up. I could have 5 different Zoom meetings with the same Zoom meeting. So with my account, I could have 5,000 people in my Zoom. I can just hook them up. But what Avio does and how I use it is that like when you go to Zoom events, it's not attractive. It's not very pretty. And you don't have any control over that. With Avio, you have complete control. You're essentially creating a web page dashboard that you give someone one magic link and you can direct them to lots of different locations. Like my event that I'm doing right now goes over the course of a month. There are 5 different events within it, so they can register for them separately. They can go in and click on them, and it's just very attractive and so easy to use.
You know the website? Because it's not obv.io.
It's ap.obv.io, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because obv.io looks like them, but then it brings you to, no, that's the login stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, it's actually part of something else that Blue Mountain Lake does. But this is the
I mean,
app or whatever it is.
this is
Yes,
it's
that
weird.
is what it is. I
Yes,
will
but look at this. When you scroll down,
yes, I will tell you that
don't-
this
I'm like,
right. So their website is not really inviting to outside people.
it's not inviting.
It's not done. Exactly. This is exactly true.
It's an
Um,
amazing tool. So it's just surprising.
it is an incredible tool. I
I
mean,
was
I can show you if you
clicking
want to see what my event looks like right now.
like I can't even get to the pricing, compare plans.
No, you can't. But you know people who know people.
I know it's
Um,
weird. Like none of the buttons work. I don't
right.
really.
It's not they're working on that because right now it's been sold internally through their Sage events. So
Gotcha.
I'm not part of their other group. I just do Avio. So there's a way to definitely do it. If you want to see what one of my events looks like, I can show you the page I'm on right now. You want me to show you? Want me to share screen? All right. Let me share screen. So I'm doing an audition event, which takes place all five, like it takes place for starting tomorrow and goes all the way till the end of the month. And basically it allows actors to take a bunch of little kind of sessions, and then it culminates with a 2-day audition event where they can audition in front of 60 to 60 to 100 Broadway and off Broadway and television theater producers and casting directors. So the thing that is great about it is that each of these, like this is built on blog posts. Each of these is coded for whoever logs in. So when I do an event, if I'm doing an event for actors, the actors see one thing, the auditors will see a totally different page. And that is like the joy and rapture of Avio, because with Zoom events, you go in, you have to you can't customize what people see. So when I do a writing event, I have a writing event where writers, like last week, and they pitched to me, and we had producers and we had writers. If you were a writer, you saw one thing, and if you were a producer, you saw another thing. So this is even a little bit more kind of crazy, because this gives you if someone has registered for this event, like they registered for Meet the Coaches, it will say, congratulations, you're registered. If they haven't registered, they reach something that says time to register. So everybody sees a different page based on how you code things in the back, and you can use tags to make sure that people see whatever they see. So it's kind of a cool, you can design it however you want. I'm going to show you two other quick little events that I have so you can kind of see the difference. This is the event I did last week, and I'm going to log in as an attendee. I'm going to log in as a writer. So this writer, I'll log in as them so you can see what they see. We did 24 writers, 2 blocks of writers, and they see, these are all their little doors where they go. They see the producers, they can click on them, and they'll get to a web page with their little bio. They have their schedule in their time zone, which is incredible. And that's what they see. I'm going to log in as a producer really quick so you can see what one of the producers sees. So the producers, on the other hand, when they log in, they see the writers. And when we click on the writers, literally their materials are right there in front of them during the pitch. So it's so versatile. I also have an ongoing one. I'm going to show you one more and then I'll be done. I have a writing retreat that I do every single month, and writers come, and it's digital. It's a digital writing retreat. When they log in, they see all of their they see a dashboard that has all of the writing blocks, all the things that are happening. We also have downloadables. This is all dynamic. It can change on the spot in the middle of an event. So that's why I use it. I pay for it. I pretend like it's my real office, and that's what I pay for. but you can really customize the experience for the attendee and then also each of the users.
On their website, it says the $1,000 a year plan is limited to 3 events of up to 12 attendees.
So that's a lie.
Okay.
I can do unlimited events.
Yeah. Okay.
With my pro plan. So maybe that's where they're going with it. But what I have is I can do as many unlimited events. I can have multiple events working at the same time, and I can have multiple rooms open at the same time. But I can't have more than 5. If I need more than 5, I can pay for extras. So that gives me up to 5,000. Now, the other more advanced things that I don't need because my events are so small, if I had an event where I was like, hey, I want to do breakout rooms, but I only want 200 people in each of the meetings, I could attach the meetings to where an attendee comes in and they get assigned to one of those 2 rooms and they play simultaneously. So you can really scale it, which is how Sage themselves have done it with like the Tony Robbins event. They scale up to 40,000 people in one Zoom event. John has a Simpson hand up.
Yeah, go ahead, Johnny.
How impressed is everybody by that?
I think it's pretty cool.
Okay, David, do you remember when Zoom first came to all our attention when COVID started? In less than 6 weeks, we all had to build this event for Toastmasters, and I got 1,000 people to Toastmasters. I did what Tamara's just shown you in 2 weeks with a set of web pages, created a whole load of Zoom meetings in the background, and put all the hyperlinks in. What amazes me is how few people have even bothered to try to do that sort of thing.
It's funny.
It's actually really easy, and yet, it is. Yeah, the world is your oyster.
I did that right away too because I happened to be targeted by the Sage event team and I went to their, because I was a theater producer and they're like, do live events online. I'm like, okay, cool, I'll go. What they do isn't exactly for me, but this is truly how I ended up at the Zoom Test Kitchen. It's how I ended up with David. It's how I ended up with Office Hours was through that event because Blue kind of went through and did his back end, demonstration of the tech. And I was like, I don't know any of that. I don't understand any of that, but okay, I can try it. And I did my events exactly the same way. And I did it on the cheapest possible way. I used like the Google free website just to create a basic dashboard. And after doing it for a couple of years, I was like, it is totally worth my money to just pay to have it all stored in Obvio. But yeah, people should be doing that. It's so easy.
I started when people come to me and ask me to help them with a Zoom events thing, because I don't know Zoom events and because I personally have found it a little more complicated than it needs to be for the type of events that I'm doing, I often will suggest to them, John, what you just said. I'll build. In fact, I wonder if it's still. So I created a web. Let's see if I have it here. Hold on. Let's see if I can bring it up for you. I'm sorry. All right. So if I go to myzoomevent.com. I bought that URL. Yeah. So this is a site that I built. So anybody can go to myzoomevent.com and they come here and then I would, create the different events and then they can come in here and there's I have no idea what the password is. I haven't used this, but they would have a password for their event. And then when they get in, let's see if I can, see what that looks like in the back end. Let's see. But that's exactly what I did. I used Wix just because I build everything in Wix.
The one, like the step up from doing that to Obvio is that Obvio does have like a lot of little bells and whistles. Like for example, some of mine need a tech check before they can do some of these events so they can understand how to do it. They have a tech check link. When they click on their magic link that I send them, which is personalized to them, they get into a tech room, which opens into a Zoom meeting with me, and I open up their portal so they can see their full dashboard. But just the detail that they have done, I'm looking at my thing. I can see who's come into the meeting before they get there. I can open their their access up. There's just so many little, just getting people into a meeting and having them have a great experience. That's really what you get from Avio. I was doing the web pages myself, and then I was like, I can't anymore. I'm doing so many of these. And now I've got to the point where I can build them really advanced, complicated coding in like 4 to 8 hours, and I can switch them on the fly as I'm going, as the event is running. You can have new things pop up. And the other thing too is you can have teammates. So I have a bunch of teammates who are able to check people in and to do all these other things that, I'm still pretty much a one-woman show, but I've started to be able to get to offload some of it to some of my team.
So this is what I built, right? And each of these is just a link to the,
yeah,
that's all.
I remember that.
Yeah. And then up here, these are just, you can do it by time. I mean, there's nothing fancy about this, but, and then
but the experience for a user is fancy.
Right.
Like they really love that experience. So I think it's,
yeah,
I think it's great.
Yeah, I'm not having a go at Obvio. I think it's really good, and there are quite a few of the other platforms.
Mm-hmm.
I won't mention any names because I'm going to be rude about them. There was a lot of platforms that did event organizing, and all they did was embed the links to Zoom in the background.
Yep.
And 10, 15 times up their price during COVID just to take money off people. And of course, surprisingly enough, most of those businesses now cease to exist because when COVID finished, they found themselves charging a product that no one wanted anymore, and they all went out of business.
I mean, Grant and Blue they have a weekly 2-hour call to help people, answer questions. They are so customer service friendly. If I've had any problems at all, I shoot off an email. Like I've had a problem where, day of, things weren't opening correctly, and Blue just popped into my meeting. It was like, here, how can I help you? So, I mean, I can't say enough for what it does. And I use a small fraction of what it does. But I've used it like this audition event. The actual event will be 2 meetings, one that I broadcast into the other, which is kind of a mini, the way office hours works is I'm able to do that myself, and and that makes a big difference. So
yeah, as you know, I'm a Zoom developer champion. I've even got the water bottle now to prove it.
I know, I'm so jealous.
And yeah, I don't know why more businesses aren't taking advantage of this and embedding all these LMS package products that are out there, all these events products that are out there. I just had a quick look because I wanted to find out what the latest update. There's a load of WordPress plugins that do events, and almost all of them now have Zoom integration built in as well, so they can do their events building in the plugin in WordPress, and then that will then have conversations with Zoom and get all the registration links back into the WordPress website for them automatically, etc. There's lots of stuff you could do.
But
I
even
think we're really sketching,
just the bare
the
minimum of create a button or put a picture up and attach the link that opens a web meeting. Like that is not hard. So you're right. I agree with that. Like I said, I chose this particular one because I love them, and it has not disappointed me at all. And I use it in weird ways that they did not intend it to.
So very cool. All right. So I'm just going to wake up the YouTube audience and say, don't forget, it is time for questions and answers. So if you do have anything that you would like to have the panelists answer, by all means, let us know in chat, and I will relay back that.
I just want to know how to get a discount code to go to one of those workshops you're offering and make myself a better writer.
You do not need a discount code. I will email it to you. It's invite. My writers retreat is actually an invite writers retreat. That particular, it's the second Saturday of every month, and if you reach out to me, then I will give you access. You can come and hang with us. And we call it a choose your own adventure writing retreat, where you come in whenever you feel like it and do whatever you want.
It's great. It's so much fun. We'll get back.
John, I think you would love it because the community it started out of a program that I did my graduate work at. And so it's a real mix of writers. There's academic writers and prose, there's screenwriters, there's playwrights, and there's novel writers. So it's a real mix.
Well, you know, I'm an academic, but my wife refers to my writing as anemic, so I just misspelled. Okay, back to the questions.
Go ahead, John.
Well, I thought I would like to tie up a few loose ends, if I may. We were talking about chat, and we went round a few circles about chat. I would like to everybody to remember that workflow automation, currently on free trial for everybody, has a lot of chat-related workflows built into it already. So, for instance, there is one for a daily chat summary. So AI Companion will go through all your chats and give you a daily chat summary, save you having to read them all, which is jolly useful when you're part of groups that I'm in. There's an introduce new members one where it introduces new members when you add them to a channel. And yes, we will have to pay for workflow automation in the future, but I also know that there's a lot more ideas they have adding workflow to integrate many more of the Zoom apps together in a much more sexy way. And I would also like to ask, who has played with Zoom Clips so far? And I've lost it, which is really annoying, but I did have, no one's Zoom listening, are they? I had a product code to upgrade to the advanced version of Zoom Clips, even though it doesn't exist yet. Did I share it with you, Nike? Did I send you a copy? Or did you acquire it in the same? Or maybe you acquired it the same way. Yeah, so there is a product out there. I was almost tempted to buy it just to see what the system gave me, but it's not supposedly released yet. But Zoom Clips is definitely moving in a direction.
And of course, as Frank always likes to remind us, of course, Zoom Clips equals more space. So that will always be there.
You don't have to keep them. You don't have to keep them on Zoom Clips. You can download them and then use them elsewhere.
Right. Mr. Idelson, you said you view Zoom Clips. Did you want to give John some thoughts?
No, it just, it's been fun. I mean, we know what's happening with TikTok and those sort of things. And again, with our parts, we have a lot of really neat things that show up, and a clip is a nice way of sending a note to somebody. A quick clip. John, I don't know how you've been doing it, but you know, it's a very simple thing. They've expanded the length of them and stuff, but we were just doing like a little short shot in the arm. Look at this cool thing that happened at the park, and send it out to people as a Zoom clip.
I know in the corporate world, there's a great majority of people who do not like recording messages to each other. So if they can hide behind a Zoom clip, then they're going to. I think most of the onboarding tools that are out there have got an AI that can do all the onboarding text for you and speeches for you automatically because nobody wants to record them. I think Zoom Clips is going to be very well used, which is why I wanted to get the, I think it was something silly like $15 a month for unlimited Zoom Clips. I thought that sounded like good value compared to what the other AI products out there. But here's the but. I do know that Zoom Clips is not written by Zoom. They've gone out to a third party like everybody else. So that's why I didn't order it, because the third party may change the pricing before they go live. So we'll have to see.
And I always get concerned about that U word called unlimited.
Yeah, there's no such thing as unlimited. It's called fair use, isn't it?
Right.
Which means you can use it as much as you like until our CFO says we're losing money on it.
Exactly. So I'm always worried about the marketing terminology of unlimited, because as an old server admin, I don't have unlimited hard drives. Unless they're unlimitedly buying me hard drives to put into servers all the time.
It's closely affiliated with Free Puppy and Free Beer.
Very, very, very closely associated with those, John. That's very, very true. All right. Actually, we're doing really well on YouTube. So all our viewers on YouTube, please, if you have questions for John and I, of course, if it's on Zoom sessions or Zoom events, of course, we can talk about that as well. So let us know in chat and I will relay it to the team. Frank, did we miss anything on the release notes? I think there was only the 2 on this little sub upgrade, right? To 6.4.4.3.4.4. Oh, John, I think has found something. Tell us, John.
Did something very ingenious. I did some screenshot captures during a certain webinar presentation. I'm just having a look at the screenshots now. So,
could that have been Josh's event this week on Wednesday?
Yes.
Excellent. By all means.
Of course, it will be available somewhere in the recordings on the Zoom events webinars hub somewhere.
Yep. That currently available already for people that are already joined that every Wednesday with Josh and us.
So what I've got ticked here is hybrid for single session events. This was a big one, although I don't do enough hybrid to understand it, except that now it's available on single session events. I think I might start smuggling it in. And what we mean by hybrid is you can have and I've lost mine now, that little thing, phone thing. You have a little phone thing and you have a little and you go to thing. That's it, one of them. That's it.
One of them.
So you go to an event. You're in a big auditorium, maybe 150 of you, say, not such a big event, but you go to an event and you're all sitting in the auditorium and you're watching the presentation. Now, if that presentation is in Zoom as well, you probably don't want to get your phone out just to watch the person who's in front of you, because that wouldn't make sense. But if you, using the hybrid features, you connected into that Zoom event or that Zoom session for the chat and the Q&A, so you can have the conversations in the chat and the Q&A like the people who are watching the event virtually, that starts to be very interesting. The production studio upgrade was share audio without content. I think the idea of that was that you could use production studio to make a nice big layout, maybe you could use it as a background or something like that, so you're adding it to the auditorium experience, perhaps without adding all the audio, because of course you don't need the audio because they're already in the room with them. There's a lobby disclaimer, which some people will like the idea of, because some people get worried about privacy. But the other thing I heard, and I haven't got it on my note here, was I think you can they've got the registration features now from events in sessions. So if you're going to have booking, you come into the meeting physically, this is, and you can then use the QR code or whatever to scan yourself in to join the event straight away. That could be really useful. And the other thing, which it's never been a problem to me, but I'm used to Zoom, so I don't notice it, but I know a lot of customers do. They've created universal join links. They've tried to, I say tried to because I'm not sure if they've succeeded yet, but they've tried to change the connection experience to make it a bit more generic. So it doesn't matter how you're organizing, how you get logged in, how you get signed on, all the different versions of Zoom that there are. I'm waving my hands around because there are just so many different ways of connecting depending on what type of accounts you have. The idea is that there's going to be one sign out on the screen. It's going to look the same for everybody and it's going to work the same for everybody. And that's going to be a big relief for those people that get lost in the minutiae.
I need to sign off, guys, but I want to thank you for letting me participate. And John, I love what you're doing.
Thank you for your contribution as well, John. And the other thing, which I think is in sessions, yes, because it's hub related, is they are working hard at the moment to try and make the hub more interesting. And what I mean interesting, I mean get rid of all the stupid stuff that you don't want on there to make it more organized and make it more focused. Of course, as we've been talking about earlier, you could create your own hub experience with a web page, but at least Zoom is trying to make their hub experience more interesting as well.
Yeah. And they just need more time to grow that to the capabilities of eventually being a lot more customizable, because again, Josh and the group is hearing quite a bit of feedback from everyone on that.
Yeah, at the end of the day, if developers pulled their fingers out and produced some great designs, then we could go that way. But I don't think I'm pretty sure that there's not enough APIs at the moment to be able to take all the stuff out of the webinar or the event experience and put it back into a web page as yet.
Yeah.
But we just it's just interesting to see what filters down to webinars.
Yeah,
in other
John,
words,
you were still looking for that, right?
Well, if they want people to use webinars, then they need to decide at what point they're going to force people to go to events and sessions, because it's still a big jump from running a regular webinar license and running a regular events license, especially as the events and sessions licenses, once you go above the 100, you have to commit to a year, which can put people off. So I think people are running events on a very, very regular basis, like every 6 weeks or every month or every couple of weeks. An events license for them is going to be good value. At the other end, people that run big events, but very rarely, they can do a pay per attendee, and that will turn out to be good value. I think it's the people in the middle that don't know what they're doing and might run a few and then run nothing for a few months, that both of those payment options are not so good. And by the way, I didn't know this, and I would love to be corrected, but I did hear that if you create an event in pay per attendee, you can't go to unlimited, or if you create an event in unlimited, you can't go to pay for attendee. So I put that warning out there because I've not heard that. I've never tried it, actually. I've never had a reason to try it, but I have heard that mentioned recently. So I would warn people about that. If you have a small unlimited license and you run out of Steam, it may be that it's not possible to then switch to a pay per attendee license, start again. So I put that warning out there.
Yeah, that's a good one, John, because I was thinking about it as you said it, and it was like, okay, where would the limitations be to go from PPA to unlimited? I could see that happening, but unlimited to PPA, going backwards, I could see that in the Zoom system actually causing a lot of grief.
Yeah,
but
and if you've got a license
PPA to unlimited, shouldn't be as bad in the back end. I'm talking Zoom back end, right?
Yeah. But it does mean that people who have a license of a certain number and then think they can get an overflow, if they have to switch to pay per attendee, I'm warning you that might not be possible. You might not be allowed to do that. You might have to just copy the whole stuff across and put all the users in and start again. I don't think you can do it. Whereas you can start with a meeting, you can convert a meeting to webinars if you have a licenses to support webinars. You can take a meeting or a webinar, and you can convert that into a Zoom session, or you can convert it into a Zoom event. You can do that, and you can keep the same number. So you can keep the same meeting number.
Right. Meeting ID, which would be their session ID, correct? Or
the meeting number ID will work. Yeah. So if you've given somebody the original meeting number ID and you've upgraded it to an event, it will still reference the same occasion. I'll use the word occasion there because it's not meeting, event, or session.
Right.
So you can click that across.
Exactly.
And just because I like to be right, my Zoom Business Plus license gives me unlimited regional calls. So for me, I can do unlimited calls within the UK, which is where I'm based, within that license. So actually, compared to other internet telephone systems, that is very good value.
Right. And just for clarification, John is talking about the Zoom phone functionality built into the
Zoom phone in Zoom Business Plus. Yeah.
Yeah. And also too, this allows you the capability too, if you have a phone that is Zoom phone compatible, it also can make these phone calls as well.
Yeah, and you can create a electronic receptionist and have extension numbers, and you can also do call recording.
Right. So if you are already a small business that is already has a VoIP based voice over IP based service that you're already paying for, and you're already paying for Zoom, you may want to look at, as John is talking about, the Business Plus package that Zoom has to potentially maybe cut your costs because you don't necessarily, but chances are you should have at least being able to compare if you have the same functionality from your current VoIP provider to Zoom's Zoom Phone, which is their VoIP system.
And if you have a VoIP telephone number, then you should be able to port it as well, because porting is available. Don't know if there's any extra charge for that, but I know porting is available.
Right. So again, as a business, if you already have 800 numbers, or if you already have a business number that you've had for years, you should be able to bring those numbers easily over using Zoom Phone as well. And what John is talking about when it comes to porting, that is basically the process that has to happen, because Zoom themselves has to ask the current telecom that you are using, or the VoIP provider that you're using, for permission to move that phone number from their system to Zoom's phone system. So that would be the porting process. And there may or may not be a fee, and that may or may not depend on the telecom provider that you're currently with that might charge it to Zoom, or there might be a regulation in place within your country that there's a certain standard price that would happen to do this porting from telecom A to telecom B. In this case, it would be Zoom. Okay. And everybody went quiet on me, including John. But yeah, so again on YouTube, again, I'll do it quickly. Don't forget, it is question and answer time. So if you do have any questions and answers for John and I, it doesn't have to be necessarily specific to Zoom events or Zoom sessions. But if you do, by all means, let us know in chat and we can talk about that. Or if there's any basic setup that you want to talk about as well, let us know on YouTube. All right. And so everybody is being very, very quiet on YouTube, but we do have people watching. So hello, everybody on YouTube. And of course, if you do have anything that you want to chime in, this would be the great time to do it. And we will do our best to get you the answers to those questions to our best of our abilities and our knowledge currently.
Well, while they're thinking about that, the biggest support news I know of is that this 6.4.2 has fixed many of the problems that mostly iPhone earpiece users have had. And there was great problems with it turning on, turning off, or not being able to turn. I mean, there were so many variations to the problem. I'm not really quite sure what it was, but it was certainly problems with the earphones not working with Zoom properly. And everybody who I had on my community forums who are having problems has come back and said that it's now fixed. So that is really good news. They've obviously worked out how Apple's muting process works and got it working again with Zoom properly. So that's very good news.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Again, I double checking and I'm just double check myself. And yes, I am definitely running 6.4.2 and I'm not run into any issues during the Zoom test kitchen today. Audio has been good. Nobody's said anything to me about my audio being bad. So I'm definitely running 6.4.2 and not any complaints. All right. So, John, this week, what you got coming up this week? That would be interesting to the Zoom test kitchen.
I was gonna give you a quote from a TV show, and then of course I realised that none of you would have watched it. But anyone that does know the Fast Show, this weekend I will be mostly developing software in Zoom. I have a project that I've been speccing out for the last 3 months, and I will be spending most of this weekend now trying to get it to work. Maybe I'll have something to show off on next Friday, or maybe I won't. I don't know, but that's what I'm going to spend the weekend doing. I have an idea for a piece of software to use in Zoom to increase engagement, and I'm going to be practicing my abilities to code again and playing with that over the weekend, seeing if I can make it do what I'd like it to do.
So any other teasers about that, John, or no?
Well, I don't want to tempt fate. But let's just say I'm hoping I will have a basic working for next week, because I then want to get more ideas of how to take this concept forward. It's not that I'm hiding it. It's just that I want to prove to myself that what I'd like to do is possible, and that I can do it before I start offering it as a working product. But I believe I can, and I've had a word with other developers, and I've had a word with Zoom as well, and they think it's a good idea. Interestingly enough, actually, the biggest problem I find with developing for Zoom is working out how can I put this, the legal side, and making sure that you get the security right. Because if you don't get security right, you just put off so many people from using your app. So it's more a case of you work out what you can do, and then you work out what you can do without. Because a lot of the developers that I see on the community will turn up and they've got the user's email address and their name, and they've got a log of every time the person turned up to a meeting. And yeah, anything else they can get hold of about the person. They just create this great big database as if they're a marketing company. And quite often I say to them, well, why have you got that data? Do you need that information? Is it really necessary to know their email address for them to use your app? And they will quite often say, well, it would be nice to email them, but I suppose I don't need it. And I said, okay, so if you need their email address and you're going to force everybody to give your email address, I can tell you that nobody in education is ever going to use your app. Most of the corporate markets not going to be allowed to use your app because they have security rules and policies. So you've just lost 60, 70% of the Zoom marketplace already who are not going to use your app. Would you like to maybe reconsider your decision and maybe not ask for the app? In fact, in Zoom now, it's really neat because you can say what's required and you can ask for data that's optional. So people can optionally say, I don't want to give you this information. So if you think the email address, you would really like it, but you don't have to have it, maybe you can make that email address an optional part of your app, so that users, when they join, can say, oh, no, I don't want to give my email address. And then maybe some of the corporates will be then tempted to use your app because you've given that option.
Yeah, and again, of course, John and I were talking offline a little bit earlier this morning, related to the EU based legalities when it comes to apps as well. So of course, that all comes into play as well, depending on making sure that you are, when you're developing an app, that you are GPDR. I think I did that acronym, John,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, GPDR, the general directive from the EU, known as the Data Protection Act in the UK before it became GDPR. And yeah, I mean, you don't have to collect data if you don't need it, and you shouldn't, because as soon as people know you're collecting that data, that's when you get a bad name. And there's a certain I think if you play back this YouTube video, you're going to find a certain AI product was mentioned, which a lot of people hate, because once it comes to one of your meetings, it grabs data that it shouldn't have done, but it was written before some of the security features came in. So I believe that's how it's getting away with it. And it will try and join everybody else's meeting and try and get everybody who's in the meeting to sign up for it. And I'm still surprised it's not been banned completely, but it's not as bad. There are other ones that are worse, and I don't see them anymore. I believe they've got banned. or kicked out because they were just collecting data to collect data to, jumping on each person and then getting their data and then getting their friends. And it was not a very good way of doing it. Mind you, a lot of these AI products are going to get replaced by what Zoom is doing itself. So that would be the other complaint I have for Zoom developers. Don't try and do something just because it's on the cheap. We've been talking about downloading recordings because it's very expensive if you don't have an unlimited license to keep lots of recordings on Zoom forever. And if you haven't got a reason to keep them on Zoom forever, why would you want to be paying for space anyhow? So there are a lot of archiving options out there. But what confuses me is I'm always coming across developers who are writing archiving and AI archiving and anything to do with archiving videos, content, transcripts, etc. I'm come across them all the time, but I don't see many of them actually out with a product that actually people could use. And there was a product on GitHub years ago which would go through, would get your list of all your meetings and then go and find the recordings and then download them for you. But it's not there anymore because I believe the person that was using it thought he or she could sell it, but I haven't seen it on the market to be sold. One of those apps that if I got around to having some time, I'd probably write myself, but I have no use for it, so I don't. But it's going to get interesting. I would like to keep all my transcripts on Zoom, but not the recordings. That would be my personal. It's not possible at the moment, but that would be my personal view, because I don't really want the recordings on there. I don't have any use for them unless I want to work out which jumper I was wearing at which meeting. But I'd like to keep the transcripts in there because I know AI is going to be able to do great things with the transcripts in the future. A note to self, must send that in a suggestion to Zoom that they do that one as well. Come on, YouTube, come up with some useful stuff. Otherwise, I might have to ask ChatGPT what's good about Zoom so I can have something to talk about.
Exactly. That's too funny, John. All right. So on that note,
actually, I don't use ChatGPT anymore. I use AI Companion all the time now.
Ah, very good. So give us some quick examples before we wrap up this episode.
Well, I have all the automated summaries coming to me all the time. So I have that all the time. That's a really good way to remind you what happened. Set your automation to have summaries on every single meeting, and turn on the transcripts at the beginning of every meeting. Make sure your attendees know whether you're doing it internally or whether you're doing it externally. We do a lot of I don't know what you'd call them, clubs, organizations, lots of small business owners all getting together and joining a meeting for a particular reason. Whenever I go to any of them, I'm always encouraging the person that's running the meeting to turn on the transcripts, because if somebody comes up with some really useful piece of advice or a great line or a great sales presentation and they've got a great phrase, how they start it, there's always going to be something in a meeting you're going to go, wow, that's great. And instead of having to get your notebook out and write it, if you've got transcripts running, you just cut and paste it and you've got it there straight away, word for word. I find it so useful, and every time I go into a group, I'm always encouraging them to turn on transcripts.
Very, very cool. Any other quick tips for anybody using AI Companion that you found useful? Maybe this week or within the last week or two?
I haven't got it to use voices yet.
Okay.
I would like to know how to do that, because I can do that in ChatGPT. In ChatGPT, I can give it a load of text that I've written of my own. I can give that to ChatGPT and I can ask it to learn that content is an example of my voice, how I speak. And then you can write some content or take some content from somewhere else, and you can give it to ChatGPT and you ask it to rewrite it in your voice. Of course, if you think you're boring like me and you haven't got an exciting voice, just go into ChatGPT and choose somebody else. So, get a bit of written and then say, please rewrite this as a James Bond movie. Please rewrite this as I don't know, I can't even think of an author now, Ronald Dahl, or maybe, and it will rewrite, it will change, it will take the same meanings, roughly the same meaning, and it will rewrite it in the language of that person. And if you're getting a bit lost for emails, getting people's interest, I can tell you that's a great way to send the same email to the same people and get a different reaction because you've written it in somebody else's voice. And that's the last one I'm giving away today.
Excellent. Excellent. On that note, everybody's being very, very quiet on YouTube. So I think it's that time of the show where we play us a tune and head us out for this week. So we're going to do a pop version of our infamous Zoom Test Kitchen. Everybody on YouTube, don't forget to follow along. It's karaoke time.
Welcome to the Zoom Test Kitchen, where the magic happens live. Every Friday we're on air, testing tech to toys. From screen share to breakout rooms, we push Zoom to its max. So sit back, relax, and let's see what's in the tech hacks. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. We'll dive into the set and score every single tab. Make sure your mic is clear, your camera not a drab. We'll show you how to host like a pro, manage like a king. The Zoom Test Kitchen, you'll be zooming with a zing. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. Whether you're new to Zoom or an expert in disguise, we've got tips and tricks, we'll open up your eyes. From polls to quizzes and test functionalities, join us live, see what Zoom does with ease. So if your meetings lag or you can't share your screen, or if your audio echoes like you're stuck in between, we've got solutions, we'll show you how it's done. Zoom Test Kitchen, where Zoom fun has begun. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. So tune in, don't miss out on the step that's wheeling. Every Friday, Zoom Test Kitchen, where you'll succeed. We'll make your Zoom meeting smooth. Keep the tech in check. In the Zoom Test Kitchen, we got your back, no wreck.
That's right. Let me do that. Take two. There we go. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this week. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel to let YouTube know how much you like our content. And don't forget, we're here every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. And don't forget, we are here, and you never know what John might have for us next week. And of course, David, for that matter. And you never know, we might have a new song for you next week as well. So definitely check us out. And see everyone next week for another there is that word, edition of the Zoom Test Kitchen. Take care, everyone, on YouTube.